She used to play hide and seek in your backyard. Now, she's getting married in it. So when you see a bare spot, you need something that patches it fast. Pennington One Step Complete has a revolutionary formula that repairs bare spots in only 2 weeks or less. Pennington has been trusted since 1945, and now it works even faster. One Step Complete from Pennington. Honest green. Get your lawn ready for any occasion. Head to your local retailer to pick up One Step Complete.
Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Fort Bragg's backyard, this is the show that put the 110 Nation on the map. There is only one nation, the 110 Nation, and you're listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show. Covering each and every sport across the board. There is no sport too large or too little. It's time to talk the talk. Here we go. Here's the man, the founder, and your host, Mr. CJ Sports.
I want to welcome everybody to the 110 Nation Sports Show. I am your host, Mr. CJ Sports. You can follow me at CJ Sports 1. You can follow the 110 Nation at 110 Nation. Check us out on Facebook, my personal fan page, Mr. CJ Sports, the 110 Nation fan page, 110 Nation Sports. Also check out our blog site, www.the110nationsports.com. Also check out our company site, www.the110nation.com. For all the latest going on here at the 110 Nation. I know it's such a mouthful, but I get it done in what? Minute? Yes, not even, but like a minute and 90. My clock's all acting up. Like the numbers, though, where it says that on air. I'm just going up, it's going down. It was down to 1 hour and 58 because it counts down. So it had like an hour 58 and 3 seconds. Then it went back up to 7 seconds. Then it went back down to 4 seconds. That was all over the place. I want to thank. I want to welcome back all our listeners. For those of you guys that listen on a regular basis, you know that 110 Nation has this thing that I kind of stole from the Army. I was stationed here at Fort Bragg, and 82 days without a major incident or so. 82nd get the day off, and we kind of got our own thing going on here at the 110 Nation. BTR about 20 days or so ago changed their format, and we get the opportunity to see every day, single day growth. And and every day since it was about 20 days ago, and once I figured out this is what this is what I could do, what we did is we went ahead and made a contest if we have 110 consecutive days, that I would reward all the hosts in the shows with a little cash prize. And we're 18 out of 18 days since we ran and started doing this. Like I said, it was about 20 days ago, but we didn't start it until a couple of days after they switched this format. And so I know for the last 18 days, we've at least gained some new listeners. So I want to welcome everybody back. I want to welcome all of the new listeners coming in. So I'm sure we're going to have another day of being up in a row. All those new Facebook fans, I thank y'all. I know we grabbed a good handful yesterday. We got the contest going on for you guys. If we can get 1,000 likes, and we've been talking about this a month, and we've gone up about a like every day, but we had to go about 6 a day to make the goal. But if we hit 1,000 likes by April 15th, we got some goodies. Shorty picked up something that's going to be part of one of the goodie bags if we hit it. If not, we got something else coming up. Also, April 15th, it is a Friday night. Here's the 110 Nation Sports Radio Network. We're going to be turning 5 years old. We are definitely trying to make a very fun, interesting, guest-packed, trying to pull some big names kind of show. And I know we got a couple of guests already lined up coming on. I'm very excited about that. So we got some people that are going to be sending in happy birthday wishes to us here at the 110 Nation. So very, very, very flattered and very, I guess, heart-filling to know that the support is going to this extreme, and I'm very thankful for it. If you're out there and you're catching the show and you feel that you or anybody, any athletes that you know that should be part of our 5-year anniversary show, hit me up. You can DM me on my fan page, Mr. CJ Sports. You can hit me up on Twitter at CJ Sports, at CJ Sports 1. You can email me, mrcjsports@gmail.com. We would love to. I would love to have this show be one of the shows that we get some really big names, we get some really cool returning guests, maybe get a couple guests that are new, and even maybe get some of the staff involved in the show. I would love it if we end up having, I don't know, maybe 6 to 10 different guests, and, kind of shorten the conversations. We don't have everybody hanging out for 30 minutes, but have, 6 to 10 people. How great would that be, just to kind of everybody come on and we get an opportunity to keep, catch up with everybody, get introduced to new people, kind of introduce you guys to some of the staff that you guys don't normally get to hear, that are, either on the other shows or they, are behind the scenes kind of atmosphere. So definitely, if you feel that you should be part of the show, somebody, have them get a hold of me. We would really like to make this April 15th, like I said, Friday night. Not this Friday, but 9 days from now, Friday. We would really love to kind of kick off year 5 on the right line. I guess it would be year 6, so that would be our 5th. Is that more than that, right? Yeah, 1. So we would be kicking off our 6th year, technically. I guess that's how you would look at it. Yeah, so we finished 1 year, we finished 2 years, so we'd be finishing our 5th year on April 15th. So we technically finishing year 15, our 5th year on that date, and it's kind of starting the new day, or new year, so we would love to kick that off the right way. So if you're out there, hit me up, let me know. But in all seriousness, I've got to thank everybody, that all the new guests and listeners and all those returning. You have no idea how cool it is to know that we're 18 of 18, and there's no sign of slowing down. I get the cool opportunity to see all the messaging. I got to talk to both hosts, rubbing his racing with big sweats. Thursday night, 9 p.m. tomorrow night. Make sure you guys check it out. I've got a great list lined up for you guys tomorrow night. I got the opportunity to talk to both of those guys today. And then Chris and Damien over the Dirt Talk Hour was involved with their conversation over there. It's just really cool to see all the networking going. Like I said earlier, Shorty ended up picking something to pick something up that's going to go in part of one of our giveaways. Just everybody kind of really, getting geared up for this year coming up for us to be a really big year, and it's just really cool to see this all kind of unfolded in front of our eyes. Everybody knows that listens to the show. I'm a very statistical person. I love breaking down the numbers, and it's kind of one of those things. It's a rush for me every morning. I'm not going to lie. I love looking at the numbers. I got a whole I forget what this thing is even called, column pad that breaks down. I know exactly what our numbers are all 18 days. Like I'm that type of guy. I ran fantasy leagues when I was in high school, and this was the day that you had to wait till the newspaper to get the stats. There was no internet, and there was no apps. You had to look up the stats in the newspaper, or if you were lucky, everybody's player was a big-time star and played and was amongst those top, performers that ESPN would give you the stats on SportsCenter. But if not, you had to wait until the paper came out the next day so you got these stats. Then, once you got it all written up, then it was to the, yeah, you're right, the typewriter. We didn't have the computers and the laptops back in my day, and it makes me feel so dang on old, and the White House and everything else. Then when you got it done, there was no email. And there might have been fax. I'm sure I know there's fax machines back then, but there ain't none of us had fax machine. That was something that the rich people had, and all the people I dealt with, we weren't nowhere close to being rich. So it was go to the library, make copies at the copy machine, or back then I think we still had gas stations that had copy machines, and then you go hand deliver them to everybody. Yeah, but you know what? I love doing it. I love stats. I love me some numbers. And, it's just cool every morning to wake up, and this is what I get to do. This morning was a hectic morning. I had to get the car inspected. Thank God it went through. And then to the gym. And tell you what, nothing more exciting. I know 2 weeks ago I jumped on that 4 mile and was doing almost 42 minutes, and today I got it under 30 at 29:55. I definitely can't wait until the summertime. That's all I can think about that. Wow. We got Shorty joining us. She's in the studio. She's on press one. She's waiting for me to let her on the show. We got Brandon Martin joining us at 10 p.m. Very excited about having him on the show. Shorty and I got the opportunity to meet both Dylan and Brandon at Miami Homestead race last year. We all met up at the Xfinity Series race. Got an opportunity to meet them face to face. We've had Dylan on the show probably about a good 10 or so times. Brandon's been on the show a couple times, or at least once. I want to say twice. I think he might have came in at the beginning of the season, right before the season. I can't remember. But I know we had him on at least once, and looking forward to catching up and seeing how 2016 scores. As a matter of fact, I know that I had him early this year. I remember something happened to the car, and there was a picture of it, and we ended up talking about it on the show. So we've had him on twice. Was a football player, college. I think it was injuries that kind of shifted his direction in professional sports. And see what the 2016 is looking like for him, and just catching up with him. The Martin boys, I'd say the Dylan Martin boys, I don't know, just so used to having Dylan. The Martin brothers are really, really good guys and really cool race car drivers. It's just really cool to talk to these guys, and it's always a fun time. So I know, and Shorty's just like, okay, put me on the daggone show. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and put her on the show. As I'm sure I'm surprised my messenger ain't blowing up. And now watch this, just start messaging. But anyway, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing super well, and I would like to point out the fact that you can't count the first year of your show as you being a year old for the show. This would be your 5th birthday, because when a baby is born, you don't count their birthday as them being 1.
I know that. We started in 2011. This is 2016. So 2012, we turned 1.
Yes, this is your 5th anniversary.
So we turned 5.
You got it right. So you're turning 5. This isn't like starting a new year or whatever. This is your 5th birthday. You're 5 years old. How does it feel to be 5 years old again, Mr. CJ?
It's 5 years, so we are beginning the 6th year. We won't be 6 until the end of the year. We are beginning our 6th year. Is how I'm trying to work.
You sound like you were super confused. So I know we were supposed to talk about some other things tonight, but I would like to start something tonight before we jump into what we're going to jump into. Urban Mayor responds to... Huh?
Oh, go ahead.
Urban Mayor responds to recruit who said he was treated like crap.
Urban
Meyer, yeah. Urban Meyer sort of apologized for the way his staff treated a 4-star recruit after he went public how he was treated at Ohio State. The Buckeyes coach heard the tackle Landon Young, who signed with Kentucky, said he was treated like crap when he went to a camp at Ohio State. Ohio State, I love Ohio State. Don't get me wrong. I have a shirt. I was really hoping that they would have won, the championship this year, since my shirt did say 2015 champions. little premature to buy that shirt, but point is, I would have liked for them to win, but that's no way. I didn't really read into it because you put me on the air right when I pulled it up.
So you pressed 1.
I know, but I didn't find this until you were.
Here's my thought on it. Is Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes supposed to give every recruit that wants to, at this point we don't know if he was invited, it was them pursuing him or him pursuing them. Either way, is Ohio State and Urban Meyer supposed to give hugs and hand jobs to everybody that comes to to Ohio State to try to become a member of the Ohio State Buckeyes? I mean, if they weren't feeling it, then it is what it is. I mean, why sugarcoat it? I mean, I'm not trying to excuse Ohio State, but I kind of look at it like this with every college. That obviously, if Ohio State treated him the way he felt he was being treated like crap, then either he did not impress him any, or he gave the impression, okay, if you don't take me, I'm going here. I don't really care. Or Ohio State just never really had an interest in the first place and didn't really want to kind of get this kid's hopes up and so he can move on and find somewhere that's a better suit for him. Or, I don't know. I just feel that I'm not going to say that it's right to treat someone like crap. I mean, obviously, his definition of being treated like crap is probably be different than someone else's. But
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If there's no mutual interest, then, I mean, they can't expect, all of the players can't expect hugs and hand jobs.
Well, no. All right, so Ohio State was trying to recruit him. You said his name is Meyer? Urban Meyer? Yeah, Urban Meyer said he was pleased with the way his staff handled Young, not with the recruit himself. He says, I did read it. We had a lot of respect for him as a player, a lot. I was very disappointed in our staff that we didn't offer him early. About treating him bad, we don't do that on purpose. If that's the feeling, I went back and talked to our staff about it because I don't want that to be out there. But when you have 1 out of 650 to say someone is treated bad, Meyer continued, we didn't offer him earlier, but we did want to offer him. Afterwards, he really grew on me. He's such a great player, and I think we missed on him early on. And I was very upset with our coaching staff, the recruiter in the area, and the position coach. That's why we do our business here. That's the way we do our business here. We do address that. I don't want that out there. Last week, Young detailed his experience at Ohio State, saying he was treated like a piece of meat. Young also said Mayer told him he was an insubstantial.
I want to stop you right there.
Insubstantial player with the insubstantial offer from an insubstantial school when Young said he was going to commit to Kentucky.
I want to stop you there.
That was the end.
Every single player, every single recruit, no matter what, is viewed as a piece of meat. Just like every female that goes and applies or works at Hooters is visualized as a piece of meat. That's just like every female that works
I bought a
at
shirt today that said Save the Hooters.
A piece of meat. Every guy that, what is that dance? God, what are the male dancers called? I forget. We'll just use Magic Mike. All those guys on the stage in that movie are just viewed, Channing Tatum and all them, just viewed as a piece of meat. It is.
Hell yeah, they're a piece of meat. They're a yummy looking piece of meat too.
It's just a fact of life. If you're an athlete, all these teams are looking at you as a piece of meat, regardless. And so to be upset because you was viewed as a piece of meat, because that's where you're going to be, how you're going to be viewed anywhere you go to try to be a professional athlete. If that's your definition of being treated like crap, then you got a long life ahead of you if you want to be an athlete, because everybody's just viewing you as a piece of meat. None of these head coaches want to be your best friend. None of these coaches want to go hang out with you and to know your life story and drink PBR at local do-drop-in bar. I mean, I'm not going to say it don't happen, but that's not what they look at. It's what they're looking for when they're recruiting you or going to draft you or going to sign a contract with you. They all they care about is your stats and what you can do, the piece of meat that you are. And if that bothers you and you feel that is a bad aspect to recruiting, then obviously you do not need to be an athlete, especially in football.
Definitely not. I completely agree. Like, it's just ridiculous to me that, he would go public and throw all these accusations about how he was treated like crap and whatnot because they treated him the same way they treated the other 649 recruits or potential recruits. It's ridiculous.
And there's also another thing that factors into it. We're talking about a kid that now goes to a school in the SEC. And it's just what it is. The SEC does not like the Big Ten, and the Big Ten does not like the SEC. Now, of course, ESPN is not going to be sweating this or talking about this because it's in the background, they're giving hand jobs to no Vaseline. They love this in the SEC. That is why they got the big TV contract, and the SEC can do no wrong. Johnny Manziel doing this, we'll just brush underneath the carpet, no big deal. So-and-so doing this, let's just brush underneath the carpet, no big deal. But heaven forbid Reggie Bush does something, we're stripping. The NCAA needs to strip them of everything. If this person does something wrong, heaven forbid. As long as the SEC, ESPN's back there just lubing that. Well, actually, they ain't doing no Vaseline. They just straight raw dogging. And so of course they ain't going to worry about it and sweat it. But that's another factor that plays into it is the SEC and the Big Ten. So, of course, once he got recruited by Kentucky and going to an SEC school, of course he's going to run his mouth. It would be, if it was a lesser college in the Big Ten, then I could see the same thing happening. Well, Kentucky or Alabama treated him like garbage. But, of course, it's not a common thing to happen in the Big Ten because they're more classy colleges than what you got in the SEC. I mean, it is what it is. So, that's another part of it. I honestly believe that is provoking him to want to run his mouth. Is the rivalry between those conferences as well.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I can guarantee as soon as he signed with Kentucky, he probably before he signed with Kentucky, he probably told them what happened, and they were like, ooh, we're gonna wait this out, and then we're gonna go public with it, and then I feel like it was all just big.
That's just like this is kind of the same example how I look at it. I've been at the same job for a year and a half at this point. I deal on a daily basis anywhere from Sunday or Sunday, maybe 500 customers up to the busy day of maybe at least 1,000 customers. I mean, easily. And in a year and a half, I've had one customer complaint. Now, does this make me a bad person? Do I provide crappy service and treat people like crap? No. I mean, look at the track record. We got 600 and some odd potential recruits just this season, and only one complaint. I mean, maybe it was just one of those days. Maybe he just felt that he was not rubbed the right way. Maybe he was expecting more behind the scene benefits. I don't know. But to have one person out of all those people, just like me having one complaint out of a year and a half times up to potentially 1,000, at least 1,000 people a day. I mean, come on. That is what it is.
I mean, your store got a customer complaint from somebody who wasn't even at your store. So I mean, it could not what he is accusing could have possibly not even really actually happened. I mean, he could say, this, and this happened, but it's a possibility that none of it happened, and it's just a rivalry. Like your boss's customer complaint or whoever's customer complaint. Oh yeah, this dark-haired girl was working, and she did this and she did that, and she didn't do this and she didn't do that, and it turns out it was all just a fixed scheme just to get paid. So I mean, it's a big possibility that it's just a rivalry and nothing actually happened, and he just chose Kentucky over Ohio State, which is a dumb decision. But nevertheless, he did it, and they decided to throw up accusations, which is stupid. Just leave it be, because they don't get paid to do it anyways, which is another dumb thing in itself. But they don't get paid. I don't know.
See,
they don't get paid anyways. But
yeah, we probably wouldn't. As I said, we probably wouldn't agree on that whole topic. But
yeah, I know.
Moving on to the NBA, and for those that have been listening to the show for the last at least month, you already know where I'm about to go when I'm talking about the Golden State Warriors. I pointed out, and I want to say there was around 20 games or so left, and they had to win 18 of 20 or 17 or maybe even 16. So I forget what it was, but it was somewhere up there. I forecasted. I looked at their schedule and said there is too many teams, too many variables. And then when we started getting closer and closer, and this team is still all in on this record and wearing themselves down, while you got San Antonio resting players and Cleveland resting players. I mean, Kyrie Irving didn't play last night. They beat the brakes off Milwaukee, but they're losing to Indiana right now, and it doesn't look too good with about 3 minutes left in the game. But here Golden State trucking along. And what even made less sense, or what also was another factor, is even if they did beat the record, it wasn't like they were going to stop there. So this team was already locked in to go all in. And I just thought that you're not looking at the big picture. Then we watched them play Washington and almost lose, as we're looking at about 10 games left or so. Then we watched them almost lose to Utah. As a matter of fact, they had to go to overtime to win that game. Then they lose to Boston. And Boston was one of those teams that I said there's a possibility there. I'm going to give benefit of the doubt Golden State at the Oracle Arena. But Boston was one of those teams that has been very, very good since the second half, since the All-Star break. One of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. But I said they could do it. I think Golden State, don't be surprised, And Golden State bounces back with the win. And then we have a team that I never would have expected to be one of those teams that would go and beat Golden State. Not only beat Golden State, but win at the Oracle Arena as well. Last night, the Minnesota Timberwolves, 124 to 117 in overtime, now making Golden State happen to win 4 out of 4 games. And I want to remind everybody that is a home game and away game against San Antonio, who has not lost a game at home. And it's a home game and away game from Memphis, which has been horrible away, but they're pretty good at home. Now, depending on if the win matters depending on if the win matters to Memphis and whether or not they can move up the seed or not, and depending on who that would play. I mean, obviously, if you're 8th seed team, I don't know, it's kind of difficult. So no matter who you play, if you're the 8th seed, you don't really want to have to move up to play San Antonio, but you don't really want to play Golden State. The only thing I look at is if you're Memphis and you're the 7th seeded team, and if you beat Golden State and that moves you up to number 6 and you get to play OKC, which is a much better and a more favorable opportunity for you, of course Memphis is going to be all in against Golden State in that last game. Now, if it don't really make a difference, then I don't see Memphis at this point really giving 2 craps, especially if the record is already out the window anyway. But we got Golden State sitting 69-9, and this is where Chicago was at with 4 games left. They sat 69-9. They won the next 2, then lost, and then won their final game. Now the tune is starting to change in San Antonio with the possibilities, which I had a feeling it was going to change regardless. And I told you guys, if you wanted an opportunity to get a preview of how the playoffs are going to look like, pray to God that somebody beats Golden State and San Antonio has an opportunity to stop that record. It is all bets are off the window, and we're going to see a preview of what the Western Conference Championship game is going to look like. Not only did one team in Boston, but 2 teams, counting Minnesota, has done that, and give San Antonio the opportunity to give Golden State the big FU. And like I have said many times already this season, if you do not go 73-9 and better, it is all for nothing. You putting all this effort, all this energy, and have the focus on the wrong big picture, if you can't beat that record, tying it, or worse, you just kind of threw away the whole regular season and potentially the playoffs. Because now you've got all these other guys and all these other teams that are rested up while you guys have been trying to chase history. As great as it is to be known as the best single-season, best regular single-season team, it is better to be known to be the NBA Finals champion and back-to-back champions, even more so. How much difference does now this make the last few games? How much more interested are you in to see how the rest of these 4 games play out, especially the San Antonio Golden State matchup now?
I'm very, very excited about this. I mean, you know, I was reading up on something earlier about, you know, San Antonio and whatnot, about how, you know, they were originally going to, you know, rest up their players and whatnot, but now that they know that, you know, Golden State has about a 50% chance of actually getting, well, no, about 25, I don't know, anyways, some kind of, you're the number cruncher, whatever their percentage is, but, you know, now that they know that they, you know, it's a very good possibility that they can pretty much screw them over. They're not going to rest up their players in time. You know, they're not going to rest up their players quite yet until they know that they can. You know, that they got the Warriors. And they stopped the Warriors from getting what they set out to achieve, and screwed up their whole season and whatnot. The coach of Tom Parker. No, that's not Tom Parker. Sorry. That was the guy that wrote this.
The big difference in listening to Tony Parker 1 week ago and reading his statement now, 1 week ago, I think no one will play versus the Warriors. Top, talking about Greg Popovich, the most important thing is that the players are rested for the playoffs. As for first place, he does not care. For us, the end of the regular season is a good time to rest. That's why we play hard throughout the season. Well, I wouldn't really say San Antonio plays hard. They play smart in my book. There's a lot of downtime, but they do it great. And like no other team, as much rest time as this team gets, and you know they've only lost 12 games, only 3 worse than Golden State at this point, only 2 off from the record that everybody's chasing. That is remarkable to me. Trying to win the most games possible to find ourselves in the situation of luxury. We are sure we will be the second seed, and we can all rest before the playoffs. I think the most important thing for Popovich is to win the NBA title. The record at home or the games against Golden State is not what interests him. That was a week ago. Here, minutes following the game over Utah, now we're hearing a little bit different tune in Tony Parker's voice here. I think we'll play. Utah, I thought he was going to rest everybody, but we played Utah. So I don't see any reason we're not going to play Golden State. Like I said before the Utah game, I thought Popovich was going to rest everybody. Parker said he wanted to play. So if we played Utah, I don't see any reason now we're not going to play Golden State. Before we were going to rest everybody against Utah and Golden State, but I guess he changed his mind. Everybody's playing now. This to me, if what Tony Parker is saying and Greg Popovich is on board, at least to prevent a record, and honestly, I just can't see Greg Popovich not trying, especially since he has admitted not to being a fan of this whole 3-point and this whole trend going on. He's not trying to discredit anything. He's just not a fan of it. I just can't see him not trying to play devil's advocate here. But like I said, this what is it we're about to see in the next two games against these two teams? I honestly think we are going to get probably the two best games in the regular season, but two, a pretty good idea of what we're going to see in the playoffs. And that right there has me very excited on what's going to happen between these two teams.
Oh, yes. It is going to be probably the best game of the regular season. It's definitely something that you'll want to sit there and have your eyes glued to the TV. Well, at least the first game. Well, both the games are probably going to be phenomenal, but that first game, because the Warriors are going to be playing as absolutely hard as they possibly can so that they can get their. Who do they play first? Do they play Milwaukee or
Memphis? I think they play Memphis.
Memphis.
It's San Antonio, Memphis, San Antonio, Memphis. So they finish up with Memphis.
So they start with Memphis and then.
No, it's San Antonio.
Okay.
San Antonio.
Okay. All right. Well, that will be their first game. That will be the initial make or break moment. That's going to probably be the best game of the 4 games that they have, because if they lose this game, then it was all for nothing. If they win this game, then they're going to keep fighting as hard as they possibly can.
And you know what else? What else is crazy? And this is far fetched. A slight possibility that San Antonio could actually end up being the number 1 seed. Because if they went out with the 12 losses and Golden State loses all 4 games and has 13 losses, that puts San Antonio up. Even if they tie, as long as San Antonio wins both the games against Golden State and has the series 3 out of 4 games, even if they tie, that will make San Antonio have the upper hand. And to know that there's a possibility that Golden State, even with the season they had, might not even finish the number 1 seed, that's pretty insane.
Oh, yes, definitely. The blah, blah. A regular season series doesn't matter much when it comes down to an expanded pairing that will likely bear fruit in the Western Conference Finals in late May. So they don't. Popovich doesn't care, about the whole record and everything. So they're going to be out there fighting. They're going to be out there getting, what they need to get done. They want to get to that playoff. They want to show essentially the world that they're number 1. And I don't feel like the Spurs are going to let anybody get in their way. Sorry, I wasn't really sure what you said. I wasn't. I'm sorry. I was messaging. I was messaging you when you were talking.
It'll be tough. I don't think anybody is great. As great as Golden State has been this season, I think San Antonio honestly is the better team. I think the only thing really Golden State has up on Golden State has up on San Antonio is three-point shooting. I think all other aspects, to include the coach goes to the San Antonio side, the bench, the rest of the role players, the pace, everything else goes to San Antonio, and the veterans and the experience. I just think that if it comes down to those two in the Western Conference Championship, I just can't see Golden State beating them, and even as great as the season they have had. I think San Antonio is going to come to play.
So let me ask you a question. So they're trying to get to 73 games?
Yeah, 72-10 ties the record. 73-9 would get them the record.
And Steve Kerr. Who's Steve Kerr? Is he a coach?
Yeah, he's coach of the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, because I was just making sure. I was pretty sure. So pretty much Steve Kerr is trying to beat his record with his team now.
Essentially, he would love to either tie or have coached. I mean, obviously, he would like to. I'm assuming he would like to tie it, so he could say he could play and have coached the two teams with the best record in the NBA ever. I think that basically for him, a tie would be the best scenario because then you're on both sides of the ball. Outside of that, I don't know which one he holds more to him. If he holds, I don't know which one's more important: him having the record as a player or if him having the record as a coach. I would think as a player, but maybe only because of the fact that he didn't coach the first 24 or 26 games. He was out with the injury, and Luke Walton coached that, and technically should get the credit, but he don't because he was not the head coach. He was the assistant coach. So I think if he got it as a coach and coached the whole game, then I would be kind of more up in the air which one meant more to him, whether being a role player on a team that had Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and all these great players, or being the head coach that assembled, taught, and groomed this team to be the best team ever. I think you can look at it, you can almost just say it like that, almost make it seem like it's more, it's a better prize being the coach, because you were just a role player. I mean, you had Michael Jordan, you had Scottie, you had all these greats on your team. Not that Steve Kerr was a bad player; he was a great three-point shooter. But without Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, it doesn't really make a difference. You weren't going, you weren't having that kind of season or winning the championship. So, and they kind of proved that once Michael Jordan left, they stopped winning the championship until he came back. But with that said, I think. If he had the coached the whole time, then it might be more of a toss-up, but because of the fact that he missed the first quarter of the season, and so it's not really all him, I think right now he would want it to be, as a player, have that record. But I think, honestly, Steve Kerr is probably laying there in bed every night just praying, please, just let us finish 72-10 so I can have coached and I could have played for the two best teams in regular season ever, and have that. That's one up on anybody. There's nobody ever else that would be able to say that, unless someone else. See Steph Curry goes and happens to coach a team, 15 years down the road. But it's going to be wild for that to ever is a possibility again. And you also got to figure it took 20 years for there even be a possibility of another run of a 72-10 or better record. So I think he probably lays there in bed like, just please, just 72-10.
Yeah. Well, back on the subject of the awful game against Minnesota the other night. So Steve Kerr, he commented on the game. He would say, the same thing happened 20 years ago. We didn't play very well down the stretch. Even the game that we broke the record, we played very poorly. This doesn't surprise me. I think it's easy to get lost in all this stuff. We haven't been very dialed in of late. good news is I think we're perfectly capable of getting locked in and playing much better, and we should, because our eyes should be a little more open to the dangers and opportunities that are there when you mess around and play with the game, and you don't play the way you should. It's true that Chicago's 70th win that year and a rather ugly conquest in Milwaukee wasn't easy on the eyes. The team also lost very winnable home contest against an anonymous Charlotte team. A 1-point game, the Chicago had 5 chances to nail a go-ahead shot during the final second, and a Reggie Miller-less Pacer squad in the final 2 weeks. The Hornets loss came that night after the team's most anticipated game of the season, though a nationally televised win over the Orlando Magic. And during the season's last four nights, the Bulls also beat the Pistons by 31, the 76ers by 30, and the Cavaliers by 26. No small feat, considering the Cavs averaged the league's slowest pace by a turtle's mile. The Warriors have lost two of three, and finishing the season with 2 games against the Spurs and 2 contests against the still game Memphis Grizzlies is no fun way to end the season. But this is also a team that could have its first round matchup currently against very tough Utah squad, as San Antonio well knows. Wrapped up in time to have 3 or 4 days off for the second round, even if the squad's second round opponent, likely the Clippers, dominate Memphis and win in a sweep. It's all about the television schedule. The Warriors could be facing down a stretch of just 8 games in 18 days. So, yeah, I was reading a book.
That's what I felt
But it's
like.
okay, because why did it feel like that? It was a freaking 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs. I didn't feel like I was talking that long. I mean, heck, about 10 minutes ago, I was kind of going, just to make sure you knew I was still here.
I knew you were still here, but I wasn't also reading the book.
I wasn't reading a book either. I was reading what they had to say about their upcoming matches and about when he was on the team in the finals, or on the team, and at the end of the regular season, breaking that record. Anyways, we have a guest coming up soon.
That I do.
I have like 10 minutes before I have to leave, so let's get down to the RG3.
Well, before we talk about RG3, how about
we'll
Colin
do that
Kaepernick?
later.
How about Colin Kaepernick? Ain't nobody want him. Now reports coming out that Broncos don't appear dead set on Kaepernick. There's really not. They could really care less. 49ers don't really want him. 49ers are trying to shop him around. Ain't nobody trying to pay him no money. I wonder how it's got to feel to be a quarterback that got a big head and a huge ego because you happen to be one of the very first quarterbacks with a read option plan, and defenses didn't quite know how to defend against it. And then you went from having that good year, I'm not going to say sensational. I mean, you weren't really no better than Alex Smith. Alex Smith was winning. He was actually completing 70% of his passes, hardly had any interceptions. Had a with the highest quarterback rating in the NFL. The only reason he didn't go back in is because he got hurt. They just went with Colin Kaepernick after that. They thought that was their best choice, which ended up costing them the Super Bowl with interceptions and blown timeouts. But to go from that and to see yourself get worse every single season, to the point that nobody really wants you, that's got to be tough. I'm not going to say tough because regardless regardless if anybody wants him, and regardless if he plays, he sits on that bench on the San Francisco 49ers side. He's still getting a fat paycheck, so he's done put it out there. I'd rather sit on the bench and get paid than go to win a championship and make less money. So I guess it's not really too bad to beat Colin Kaepernick, even though the fact that nobody wants you.
Yeah, that probably sucks. I mean, I've been in that. I've once upon a time, I was the last one picked for kickball or
Go ahead. Say another sport.
Dodgeball.
Where was you picked? And what number was you picked when it came to basketball?
I was really. I'm pretty good at basketball. Like I was. You forget. I have a big butt. So my blocking skills were on point. Like I was really good at basketball. I might be short, but I can still throw the ball into the freaking hoop. I still make it. I can still, shoot baskets. I'm good. Well, I was good. I ain't good now.
The reason why we call her Shorty is she's 4'11". So you got to understand.
I was always measured at 5 foot when I went to the doctor. Some guy with a tape measure. Same guy with a tape measure said I was 4'11".
But I can't imagine. So I'm visualizing if you're short as an adult, then you had to be short as a kid. And so basketball is one of those sports that not too many of the little kids get picked. So that was why I was asking. I'm not
a little kid. And I wasn't little then. I wasn't little then. Just because I'm little now doesn't mean I wasn't a regular-sized child. You imagine me as like a little freaking midget? You imagine me as a midget when I was growing up? I was
not a midget.
Regular-sized child.
A little shorter than everybody else.
No, I wasn't. I was the same height. I just stopped growing at 16. Well, 10. No, I was probably about 13, 14 when I stopped growing. But, I mean, the rest of my life, the beginning of my life, or between, age 5 when I went to school till I was, 13, 14, I was the same height as everybody else. I wasn't short. They didn't consider me short until everybody else kept growing and I didn't. But just because I'm short now does not mean that I was short then.
Well,
and it kind of hurts my feel bad.
It kind of hurts your feel bad. I'll slightly apologize because I just assumed if you're shorter than everybody now that you were, I'm not going to say a midget, but you were just a little bit shorter than everybody else. I'm not talking leaps and bounds. I'm just assuming that you're just one of the shorter kids in the class. Wasn't even the short kid, but just one of the shorter kids in the class. I
was not the shortest kid in the class. Hell, heck, I might have been one of the tallest in the class at that point. But I grew so fast that I just couldn't grow anymore.
Wow.
I love talking with you on here when I get to actually talk.
Grew so fast that you stopped growing.
Yeah. My body was like grow overload.
What? You hit your glass ceiling. Stop!
You actually have like growth plates in you? Like in your ankles? It's either in your ankle or your feet. You have growth plates. I know a girl who, she broke her leg and she broke her growth plate in her leg, and they had to break the other one in her other leg because if they didn't, then she would have been like a freak.
One reporter than the other.
Yeah, she would have been like one side would have grown. You know, she would have gotten taller on one side and not the other. They had to break both of her. Or they had to break the other one to make sure she didn't start, and grow on one side.
That would suck.
Maybe that's what happened to me. Maybe I stepped on my foot wrong and broke my growth plate.
Or maybe you were just born with a small growth plate.
Maybe I was. Maybe my butt took over the, maybe my growth plate was misplaced, and it went to my butt instead.
Oh, goodness.
So, well, I guess it's about time for me to head out. So, so I will talk to you in about 30 minutes.
All right. We will
maybe
be looking for you
maybe about 35. What time do you think?
We'll see how long Brandon and I can have a conversation for. I'll let you know.
Oh, I'm sure you'll have conversations for a long time. But
all right.
I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. But I really want to come back on after Brandon comes on, because I want to talk about RG3 and his stupidity trying to bring back a slogan that he tried to trademark in 2012.
We'll bring you back on. Talk to you later.
All right. I love you. I got mad love for Mr. CJ.
Everybody loves Mr. CJ. Got a little fan club going on now. Just playing. It's funny now because, and I meant to talk about this earlier. Well, at least I might say talk about it, but at least put it out there earlier. Of course, we broke the news yesterday. We have formed a marketing partnership with Fit for Life, and we got 10 locations in our area. They're open 365, 24/7. Make sure you guys check them out. Go look them up, Fit for Life. But we've formed a marketing partnership, and we're going to have some stuff on our site for them and on Facebook, and of course do them up a little something for the shows. So, man, why was I? Oh, I walked in the gym today. I was trying to remember why I was even talking about it real quick. But I walked into the gym, and the girl behind the girl behind the counter, she's like, Mr. CJ Sports? I was trying to remember if we had this conversation yesterday, and I was like, yep, you got it. So I tell you what, it's going to be a little bit different. I get to be called it on the show, and I get to be called it when we go to different events, but I remember the first time I was at work, and I had somebody come into my work, and as I came to the counter, they were like, "Are you the guy they call Mr. CJ Sports?" And so it was something kind of different. It was something that I didn't hear often outside of the 110 atmosphere. And then now, knowing that when I go to the gym, I'm going to hear that every time I go to the gym. It brings a smile on my face. It lets me know that even Mr. CJ Sports is catching on, and more and more people are knowing about not only the 110 Nation, but myself as well. It's really cool. I'm waiting for the day that Mr. CJ Sports has a Wikipedia page. That's what I'm waiting for. Where you can look up Mr. CJ Sports. I think that would be really cool. Everybody else has got a Wikipedia page. I want my own. I don't know why. I just do. Makes me feel kind of special. I don't know. Not really, but it would be cool. I think everybody should have one. Make it a little bit easier for everybody to find everybody. Everybody have their own Wikipedia pages. I don't know. In a day era where everybody's got their own Twitter feed, everybody's got their own Facebook pages and Instagram and Snapchat and everything else. And here Mr. CJ Sports talking about, everybody should have a Wiki page too. I guess. I don't know. Social media is funny. As useful as it is, and it's cool using that as one measurement that you're growing. You know, it's one of the things that I document every single day. It's also like the most tedious and the most aggravating at times things. And sometimes you just see stuff on social media, and sometimes you look back to make sure that you're actually somebody you follow or somebody that you're actually friends with. Like, you see something and you're like, that can't be something one of my friends would say. There's no way. And then you look back, well, I'll be darned. It was one of my friends. I don't know if I want to be friends with this person anymore. So, I don't know. As good as social media could be, and as much as it helps, at the same time, it is very agitating. Oh, wow, my handheld device here that I was using finally connected to the Wi-Fi an hour later, and it finally connected. Anyway, we got the return of Brandon Martin to the show, and if I remember correctly, this is his third visit. It seems that we got him on right at the end of the season last year, and I swear that we had him on early this year. I thought I specifically remember talking about one of the pictures from one of the races and one of the incidents that they had. I know it's a lot of improper sentences there and all in one there. But so I'm banking that I'm correct, and this is the third time, but I could be wrong, and I might be corrected. But anyway, without any further delay, let's go ahead and get Brandon on the show. How you doing tonight, Brandon?
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
I'm not doing too bad, not too bad. Just glad to have an opportunity. It's always cool to get you on the show, get both of you guys on the show. You know, it's one of those things that get a lot of guests on the show, but there's not too many I get to say I've actually got to have a conversation and hang out with. So it's one of those things I get a whole different special thing with you guys, and it's just really cool. Before we jump into this, as I know you got a bunch of things going on, to include a new fan page, Facebook page. I can't remember if it's fan page, Facebook page, or whatever it is, for your racing. So what I want to do is give you an opportunity to plug yourself, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you guys use, any websites, team sites, personal sites, sponsors, anything you want to throw out there real quick. That way the fans and listeners get an opportunity to be able to find a way to keep up with you, know about you a little bit more, following your 2016 season and moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. It's really great to be back. And yeah, I will agree that it was very different being able to finally meet a radio host at Homestead. So it was good to be able to see you guys and get the chance to meet you in person. As far as following me this year, we've actually decided to make my own Facebook page. So I got off of Dylan's, but Dylan Martin Racing, and it's now Pirate Flag Racing. So you can look that up on Facebook and follow my whole season there. We update during the race days. We're trying to figure out how to live stream right now. We live stream on a different one, and then we put the link up so you can actually watch the races on Facebook. And then as far as Twitter goes, that's Brandon Martin GT53. Same thing. We stay updated on there. Try to keep in touch with everybody. Website, I'm sticking with Dylan Martin Racing at the moment. So all your updates for me as well as my brother, you're going to find on his website. For my sponsors, sponsors have been a huge part of this year, and there's no way we could have done it without a few really, really big guys helping out. Simpson came back on and did a really good job for us. Dave Culprit at Service on Site has been helping out a lot. Robert Lohr at Ocala Aquariums was a really big one for us. That was we were going to miss a race, and in the 9th hour, he called up and said, "Hey, I got you. Go get what you need," and he set us up to be able to hit that race. And of course, Blackwater Integration is also, my main one. My parents have always been really good to us. So yeah. So how's everything going with you? I ain't talked to you in a little bit.
Everything's been going fine. Coming up on 5 years on April 15th. It's amazing how quick time has gone by. I think since last time we got on the show, we're syndicated on the I-95 Sports Network. Got a shout-out to those guys. There's a lot of cool things going on. Just looking forward to this 5-year anniversary. It's something that is not a common thing. I know there's people out there that do it, but a lot of people, they're in it for the wrong reasons. They think it's a get-rich scheme or the way to make some money, and it's not. And if you ain't got the passion for it, as many have come and gone in the 5 years I've been around, you just don't make it. And I'm glad to still be sitting here. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next year is going to bring for us, and just very excited about it.
Awesome. Congratulations on that. That's big.
Thank you, sir. I do have a question. Pirate flag. What is the meaning behind that? Where'd you guys come up with it?
Well, a couple funny stories that went along with that one. The main one was when me and my wife, we got married in last January, so a little over a year ago. And when we moved to Florida, I told her, first thing we do, and we did before we even got furniture in the house, my buddy had bought me a pirate flag. And we had found this steal of a house on a lake, and I got a giant piece of rebar, duct taped it to the rebar, and drove it into the ground at the back, literally. So the first thing we did to decorate our brand new house was I dropped a pirate flag in the back. Me and my dad are really good fans of water, boats, and maybe a little bit of rum, but that's if kids aren't listening.
It was your wife the type that when she saw you do that, and it was the first thing, she just kind of put her head down and just kind of shake it?
That was about right. Scratched her head, go, "Are you all right?" And I just went, "Now I am." We had our own little setup down by the lake. Pirate flag, tiki torches, and fishing poles. Can't get better than that.
There you go. 2016, what's the season been like for you so far?
So far, it has been an absolute blast. Now that we're out of the rookie season, I've kind of got my feet under me a little bit more, understand more what's going on. The racing has gotten much better. We're slowly getting the car better and better every week. I don't think we've had a week yet where we finished worse than we did the week before. Last week we got to 6th. Actually, now that I say that, let me bite my tongue and take that back, because the week before we finished 5th. But we've got to a top 5 car now, and we're just working slowly, trying to get the car better, get it to where we can play with it more, make sure we're keeping up with maintenance, and have a good car so I can learn to drive more. There's a restriction on what you can do if your car can only do so much, but as we make the car better, I'm able to do more stuff and learn more about my driving and how to race and different styles of what we can do during the middle of the race to make the car better.
Now, for those that don't know, Brandon's probably about 2, maybe even 3 times the size as Dylan, and was a football player in college football. And it even looks I get to see the pictures, so I already knew the big difference. But then to actually be there at the track with both of you guys, it was just kind of humorous. Because all 4 of my brothers, it's kind of, my brother's a little bit, he's got the beer belly, my older brother, and he's just kind of like, they kind of get a little bit thinner as you look at the brothers. You can see, and it's funny because 2 from my mom's side and 3 are from my brother or my father's side. But my brother's kind of got this big. Well, he did until he had the surgery. But and then I'm kind of a little bit smaller. I just happen to be a lot more muscular than all the rest of the brothers. That's kind of the only factor that plays different into it. But the next brother down is a little bit smaller, and then the other 2 took their stepfather, my stepfather's side, and are real skinny. So it just kind of like, it was like all the brothers just kind of got a little bit skinnier as it went. You guys are just like 90 days, just like Dylan could probably hide behind you. But my point is, Brandon was a football player in college, and so my question is, when you were playing football, and Dylan was talking about the physical aspect, and I know you had to be sitting there thinking, don't talk to me about the physical. I'm playing football. Now that you've had almost a year underneath your belt, or about a year underneath your belt, do you kind of look at things differently now when it came to the whole physical aspect, and maybe even a little more respect for your brother because he's a much smaller guy, so he's got a lot more to kind of prove being a little bit smaller of a guy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've messed with them about it here and there, actually, just in the last couple of weeks. They just announced that the Bombers are going to be running 100 laps at DeSoto on May 29th, and I just went cross-eyed like, who thought this would be a good idea? But we're going to see if the cars can hold up. We're going to make sure the cars got good maintenance then. But yeah, after talking with them, I used to mess with them about it, pick with them about it. Now that I've done it, and I've, like you said, I've got a solid year under my belt where I've been driving. It's the same. It takes the same physical exertion, but a different style. You're fighting G-forces rather than taking blunt force, unless of course you crash, which that's a whole different ball game. But as far as actually just racing, what really tires me out the most is the mental aspect. You don't realize how exhausted you're going to be after getting to the track early in the day, running the car during practice, making the adjustments, having to think the whole time. And then, of course, getting in a race, you have to be on your toes from start to finish as soon as you get out onto the track to the time your tires leave. But it was more the mental aspect for me that really caught me off guard. That being said, I've yet to run anything more than 50 laps. So this May 29th race is going to be a test, to say the least. It's going to be double anything I've ever run. And I'm going to get a taste of what he runs sometimes with these bigger, longer races, having to try to stay calm, pace yourself, but still push your car to the point where you have the speed, but you're not going to wear your stuff out at the same time.
Now, you had kind of an advantage you had, Dylan, and you got to see a lot of the behind the scene and kind of do what you were getting into somewhat. But looking back now, when you was first getting into it, was this what you expected? The mental, the physical, the dedication, everything that you've had to invest in this last year. Honestly, when you stepped in and made the change from football to racing, is this what you expected? It ain't one of the things is a good expectation or bad. I'm just curious, was this what you expected, or was this a whole different ball game than what you was really expecting, or what you thought this was all about?
Yeah, this is actually, I'd say this is really exactly what I expected.
Gotcha.
I like you said, I had one of the rare opportunities of, I was with him from the time he was in quarter midgets up through trucks, and into his super days, and I got to come back for, I'd probably say it was 7 months before I decided to do it, which the whole time, I was working with him, working on his cars at the track and, helping out there. So I kind of knew what went into it. The one thing that has surprised me, I will say, is the monetary aspect. It's not necessarily that it's, big purchases every week. It's that little nickel and dime stuff that it's just making me go, dang. I think Jamie looked at me and goes, you realize how much you spent on that car? And I went, no. Oh, oops. So, but yeah, as far as the effort and the dedication, it's exactly what I expected. And honestly, I love every second of it, because it's kind of the same way that I used to have to do with football. You get down, you're there in college ball, you go to your classes all day, get your homework done, and then you're right at practice, and you're at practice till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I will say what I like about racing a little more than football is, A, I'm not getting the crap beat out of me and vice versa every day, and B, when I'm at what would have been practice time, while I'm sitting there working on the car, my wife brings the dog up and brings the dog to the shop, so I'll be able to hang out with my family while I'm working on my car, seeing my friends hanging out. It's not like I'm having to collude away to my team and not get to see anybody.
There you go. That's always a great thing. As a rookie, I'm sure that there was a lot of whoopsies or embarrassing moments in any field, in every field, no matter what you do. There's always got to be something. I want to give you a second. I want to know that the biggest, the moment that your face probably got the reddest, or you were sitting there thinking, what the hell was I thinking, moment. And then also on the other end, in this first year, what was your biggest accomplishment, or the thing you was most proudest about at the track so far?
Well, the embarrassing one's easy. We went out to Bronson, and we were doing qualifying. I don't know who thought they decided they were going to single-car qualify Bombers instead of running heats, but, okay, let's do it. Let's get the show going. So we go out to qualify, and I take the green, do my 2 laps, and I pull in, and everybody's just looking at me, scratching their heads, like, what the heck are you doing? And I'm confused. Like, I'm like, what do you mean? I did my 2 laps. I pulled into the pits. Life's good, right? Yet, no, I missed the entire last lap. So I didn't even get timed because the timed lap I didn't run. I pulled off on turn 3. And to top it off, everybody else was finishing that lap and pulling into the center. So there's this line of cars in the center. And I did half of a qualifying run and pulled off the track thinking, man, I did good. And, oh, no, I didn't. I got back into the pits, and I thought Dylan was going to cry. He was laughing so hard. And I got out like, what's so funny? And he goes, dude, you suck.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a rough weekend in general. We lost a tire. That was the first time I ever had a tire pop off a car whole. I'll take it on him and say my wonderful car chief, who happened to be my brother, forgot to tighten down the lug nuts on my right rear. So about 5 laps in, I suddenly didn't have a tire. Yeah, tire actually went up, bounced off the outside wall, and then hit the roof of my car. Which was the second most embarrassing point of my career because I didn't know I'd lost the tire because I was just pissed and drove it all the way in on a brake drum with everybody going, are you going to stop? Like, nope, drove the whole way to the pits on a brake drum.
Oh.
Yeah, we've got some dumb ones.
What has been the greatest moment so far for you?
Oh, yeah, well, after all that crap. I think the best one I had so far was a couple weeks ago, running DeSoto. It was the first race that I pulled it onto the trailer. I looked at my dad, and I went, okay, that one I did good. Like, that was one of those that I looked back and I said, I know there was mistakes here and there, but for the most part, yeah, the car stayed straight. The car stayed in one piece. I think we got a top 6. I think we came in 6th on that race. So we got a solid finish. It was like 6 out of 16 or 17 cars, and that was one of the races that I got in. I was passing on the outside. I was working the car. The car started to go away towards the end of the race, and I fought the car, did everything I was supposed to do. And when I pulled into the pits, I kind of looked up and went, okay, that one I'm proud of. That was a good one. So I'd say that was my best moment so far. And now I'm kind of a DeSoto pump. Now I kind of want to stay there because I did good there, so I don't want to go back to Auburndale. Auburndale's still a pain in the butt.
Are you running a full season?
Yeah, I am running a full season with the Bombers. They've set up this kind of series thing for the Bombers. It runs back and forth between Auburndale and DeSoto Speedway.
Gotcha.
They jump back and forth almost every week. I'd say there's maybe 1 or 2 weeks off a month, but for the most part we're racing. We actually happen to be off this week, and we've been jumping back and forth, making every race that we possibly can. It's all about.
I was going to say, are both of those tracks pretty close in comparison to where you stay, or is one like, are they both at least close and not, a lot of travel expense?
Close is relative. I mean, Auburndale's 15 minutes away, so absolutely, that's the hometown track. I'd say DeSoto is about an hour and 15, hour and 20 from the shop. So, compared to North Carolina racing, absolutely, it's right behind, it's right in our back door. But for us, that's a bit of a haul. But yeah, no, both of them are within an hour, so it's no big deal to jump back and forth. The biggest struggle that we're having as far as getting the car set up and everything is, even though the tracks, as far as geographic location aren't far apart, it could not be more different. Auburndale is a little over a quarter mile, really shallow banking in the turns, really tight turns, long straightaways. It's a drag race down the front stretch and try to park it in the corner to hold on for dear life and get back going. Whereas DeSoto is a 3/8 mile, really high banked. I don't even touch the brake at the track. I burp the gas getting into the turn and get right back on it halfway through. So very different. DeSoto is much faster. 2-line track, you can run the high groove, you can run the low groove, and you're going to be okay either way. Whereas Auburndale, it's whoever gets to the bottom wins, and it's a braking game. Who can outbrake the other one getting into the turn?
Have you noticed much difference in the fan base when you play football and compared to racing, just from, the fans that you get to interact with. And I know college is a little bit different, and it's not, I'm going to say, I don't know, I've not seen a lot of college teams be real fan-friendly. It's not like the NFL, and it's definitely not like racing, so it might not be a fair comparison. I know all the college games I've been to, once the game was off, everybody kind of went their direction. Unless it was a big school like, Ohio State and the tailgating, and I still don't know how many players, actually get involved in or out there early or not. But have you noticed a big fan difference when it comes to one sport to the other, and your fans that talking to you and stuff, or is it just kind of just what it is?
There's an absolute massive difference between the two. It's kind of like you said. I went to a smaller college. We averaged between 5,000 and 8,000 fans per home game. Big games we'd maybe get 9,000 on a good game. But it's kind of like you said. After the game, everybody kind of went their separate ways. The families would come on the field. A few of the kids would come down and want to meet the players, and we would all sit there and talk to the kids for a little bit, and then go hang out with our families afterwards. With racing, you're very much in, and I guess maybe because it's not a team sport per se, as in there's more than one person on the track. The fans see a driver. It's absolutely a team sport because you've got all your guys in the pit, you got your crew chief that if stuff's not going right back there, you're not gonna do good on the track. But at the same time, the fans don't see that, especially in local racing. It's not like in NASCAR where they can hear the crews talking to each other. So it's very different in local racing where the driver is much more in the limelight according to the fans. So the fans interact with you like they know you because they do. They follow you on Facebook. They see your Twitter. They know what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And when they come up to you at the track, they'll ask you, "Hey, how's your job going? I saw you picked up a second job," or "Hey, I saw you got a new puppy. How's your new puppy doing? You like it?" And you're just like, "Hi, yeah, puppy's great." It takes me a second to kind of grasp the fact that, oh wait, this isn't football. They don't come to a game, see me in a jersey, and leave. These people actually know me. That these are friends more than fans.
It is really cool. It amazes me how fan-friendly racing is. You see the highs of it, and I know every driver at this point has had to see the Kyle Busch video and how, he made that fan's day. And I think that the part that really catches on to me is the fact that it wasn't the fan yelling out the window trying to get Kyle Busch's attention. It was Kyle Busch going the extra mile trying to get her attention, and even the fan even turned and went back to what they were doing, and he had to roll down his window and pump his horn once again. You get those highs, and then there was a time I was at Bristol, and I was on the backside where the bathrooms were. I want to say it was on the backside of the media center, but it might have been the backside of the Goodyear. I can't remember the concession. I can't remember what was on the backside, but I remember I caught on very quick once they did the driver introduction that the drivers were headed straight to the bathroom. So I kind of stood in the corner where I could see the bathroom door out of my left eye, and from the right I could see the drivers coming at me. And I was just down there trying to get good pictures for the fan page and everything. But I felt bad because the sport being so fan friendly that everybody else gets caught on eventually. And here these guys are trying to, and ladies, but that our side just happened to be the guy's side, where I was at. These guys are trying to go use the bathroom, and here they got to sign 8,000 autographs just to go to the bathroom or come out of the bathroom. And I can imagine there was probably a few fans in there getting autographs while these guys were trying to go to the bathroom. And so at times I'm sitting there, I was like, God, I really want to go in that bathroom and see how many fans are in there bugging these drivers as they're trying to do their business, get back to their cars, get this thing started. And but I hate going there. It was already enough of a cluster over there. But sometimes I feel bad for drivers because they try to please everybody, and of course there's always that one fan that they felt that they got overlooked, and of course they got to go to Twitter, go to Facebook, and well, this driver, right. So was an a-hole because he wouldn't give me an autograph. He signed everybody else. these drivers try to do their best. When I was at Martinsville, there was a new fan of the sport, and he was sitting there talking to me, and you could tell he didn't know who these drivers were, and he just knew a couple of the big names. And he's standing there talking to me, just a random guy, just cool. He's standing there talking. I was like, well, there's so-and-so going by. And he'd be like, Kurt Busch, we got to get your autograph. And I was like, well, there's so-and-so going by. And as soon as I said their name, so-and-so, can I get your autograph? Like, it was humorous, but at the same time, he kind of felt bad for the drivers. They're trying to get everything done. But it does amaze me how fan-friendly this sport is and how involved everybody is, from the fans all the way up to the drivers.
Yeah, that's been one thing that was shocking. Like, when I went out to Homestead, I will make the sad admittance that was my first ever time being inside pit row of a NASCAR track. I mean, I've seen the races from the outside, but I've never actually been in, and I got to go in with Dylan and all that. And to see the fanfare around the drivers was absolutely incredible. I'm pretty sure racing is the only sport where a fan can walk directly up to an athlete and say hi, and the athlete will turn around and go, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're right. And I'll say I'll disagree with you on one small aspect of I don't necessarily feel bad for the drivers. Being one, and I've seen it happen to others, and it happened on a very smaller scale through my football career. Those fans, those are the reason that we get to do what we do. That is the sole reason that we can go out on the weekends and push ourselves to the limits, and that these guys can run NASCAR the way they do, and the fans are what makes it worth it. So, I don't think the drivers mind actually, stopping and saying, "Oh, hey, signing the autographs on the way by." That's, it's a part of the sport. It's what comes with the sport. But more importantly, those are the people that make what we do possible. And I know as a driver, and I know that from other driver standpoints, is I'd be more than grateful to stand there and do that. I know my brother's the same way. It happened to us in Nashville while we were testing. We were just hanging out, getting ready to start testing in Nashville, and there was a group touring the site, and there was a bunch of little kids. There was I'd say probably 20 kids and their parents. And the first thing we did is go over and introduce myself to them and said, if you want to meet the driver, and Dylan knew what I was doing. And I was like, if you want to meet the driver, you can come over here, we'll meet the driver, get pictures by the car, and because those are the fans. Thank God we had coloring books with us. We handed out coloring books. He signed autographs. He signed the coloring books. And the kids were absolutely ecstatic that they got to meet the driver, take pictures next to the car, get something they could take home that was tangible, that they could go to their friends and say, "Hey, look what I got." And from our standpoint, from a team standpoint, we just made 40 more fans that are going to go tell all their friends about, "Hey, guess what happened in Nashville while we were walking through the pits? One of the drivers let us hang out and talk for a little bit." I think that's the key, that what makes the sport run, is that it's so open. And yeah,
I understand, and I'm not going to say completely, but almost completely agree. There's a part where I feel bad is like when I was at Bristol, and you're trying to get from your car to the bathroom, get your business taken care of, and get back to the car. And I understand, autographs on the way to the bathroom and the way back, but not right when you're walking out the bathroom door and you're still drying your hands off. Or I can guarantee you there was fans in the bathroom. And another incident that I don't mind fans having the opportunity to listen into the scanners. So you kind of talked about it a little bit, earlier. And that's kind of the difference between NASCAR and local. You don't get that. The fans don't get that opportunity. I don't have a problem with fans listening in, and this is kind of where it maybe goes a little bit too fan-friendly, in my opinion. I don't mind them listening in, but to me, that's a private. I'm not going to say it's private that nobody should be able to listen to, but it's considered a private conversation. It's a radio that the driver is communicating to the spotter and communicating to the crew chief and vice versa. So if you want to listen in, they make it public for you to listen, but I feel that you're listening into a conversation. So, one, you should be an adult. And I don't think any kid should be under 18 be able to listen into it. This is just my opinion. Because two,
I wouldn't let any kids under 18 on my radio.
and this is my exact point. And my point too is, if you are easily offended, then you should not listen to it at all. I do not like, because the fans get the opportunity of listening into the car radio, that the drivers are expected to basically keep it PG. honestly, the only way I'll ever buy or rent one of those scanners is if it is unfiltered, uncut. I get raw emotion. That's the only reason I want to listen to it. I want to listen to Kevin Harvick in the heat of what's going on and let everybody know exactly what is on his mind. I don't want them to go, well, gosh darn it, there's Dale Jr. getting my way again. No, I know that's not what he's thinking, and I don't want to rent something. It's like buying an edited CD. There's really no point. I mean, not every music's got to have cussing in it, but if you're a fan of Eminem, you do not want to get the edited version of Eminem because it's not the. And the same way to Stan, I have no problem listening or people fans listening in, but that's where I kind of feel bad because as a driver, you're a competitor. This is just as competitive as being out there on the football field or out there on the baseball diamond, and to say in the heat of the moment and something happens, you got to keep it clean. You got to fan friendly and family friendly. I don't, that those are the kind of the moments that I kind of feel bad for the driver because, simply going to the bathroom or simply having a conversation with your crew chief that you got to reward and think about what you're saying so you don't get in trouble by NASCAR because the fans are listening in. Those are the kind of the points that, the kind of the times that I feel bad. But outside of that, no, I don't feel bad. It's not that I feel bad the whole time. It's just when you hear those stories like, Kyle Busch,
right.
They thought when that last race where he lost that tire that he was going to possibly get fined for what he said on the radio, and he ended up getting fined for not, fulfilling his media obligations. And that was kind of stirred up. And I'm sitting there thinking, this man is the most competitive driver out there. There's a reason why he came back from an injury and won a championship. There's a reason why he's won all these Xfinity Series races this year. There was a reason why until that same weekend he was top 5 in every single race in the Sprint Cup Series. So don't expect Kyle, for me to expect Kyle Busch to be, go happy and, well, gosh darn it, they gone higher with it. Those kind of the moments is what kind of aggravates me. But I understand what drives the sport, and I appreciate what the drivers do. Everything that I've gotten to go to, the Chip Ganassi Sound Rides events, the Hall of Fame, the first year that they had this contender elimination stuff and the chase and talk to all the drivers, I could not be more pleased and happy with the time and the dedication and everything that the drivers give. But at the same time, I know that there's got to be a time like, can I just go take a piss by myself and just have a second before the race?
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean. Although I will say, that whole radio thing, Jeff Gordon brought that up. He, for the record, is an awesome announcer. He brings an analytical side to it that most fans don't get to hear. But he brought the whole radio thing up with something that Austin Dillon said. And Austin got on an interview and he goes, yeah, I got to learn to watch my mouth on the radio. But, and Jeff defended him. Jeff said the same thing that you just did. Like, that's emotion. These guys are putting into this, 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and they're away from their families, and they're traveling, and they're doing all of this for a 3-hour race on Sunday. And when that 3-hour race goes bad in the last 3 laps, there's going to be some angry people. And you're not going to be able to hold that back. And if you're going to get offended by listening to that radio, I would advise you not to listen to that radio. But yeah, I love that when drivers go like that because that shows you that they care, that it's not all about the money, that these guys are racing because they want to win.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the only way I would rent one of those. If I knew that it was uncensored and I got raw emotion, that is the only way that I'll ever rent or buy one of those. And I agree, Jeff Gordon has got a lot better. It was shaky at first, and I was like, oh my God, here we go. But it has gotten a lot better. What I wish Fox would do is go ahead and keep Gordon and maybe Stewart or somebody that is recently retired. I think where the disconnect with everybody with Darrell Waltrip at this point, other than we're tired after 20 years of hearing boogity, boogity, boogity. It was cool the first few races and even maybe the first season, but after a while it has gotten old. But he's trying to relate as a driver from his experience versus all the changes to the tracks, to the cars we've gone through, the COT, the generation that we've gone through. Here, Darrell Waltrip is trying to relate and give us his best opinion on what's going on, but he's been away from the car so long that's why I think Gordon sounds even that much better. He's gotten a lot better, but his fresh, just being out of the car, experience just makes it so much better. I wish that until Clint works, I would love to listen to Clint Boyer. He's just one of those drivers that he just humors. I can imagine Jeff Gordon, Clint Boyer, and Larry Mack. I think that they are really dropping the ball with not having more Larry Mack time. He's got so much knowledge about racing and so much knowledge as a crew chief and what goes on. It is unreal, and I wish they could just pull the reins back on the Walter brothers a little bit and give us more Larry Mack time. I think that would help Fox's ratings because people are just – Darrell Walter can't relate. He's getting too old. He's too far removed from the track and everything else. And, as much as it was rough at first with Gordon, he's gotten a lot better, but his fresh take of everything really helps what's going on in that track. And him be able to relate to the drivers because he's friends with them and has competed against them. It's different. It is time for Fox to move on from them and get fresh, retired drivers that have an idea more of what's actually going on in today's car and today's track and today's rules versus Darrell Waltrip trying to do his best at relating what he thinks is going on from his past experience and something that is totally different at this point. Honestly, has it been a lot different for you? I don't know how. You talked about going to the track all the time, as Dylan was going through, growing up and at racing. Him being away in North Carolina, has that been a big adjustment for you? I don't know how close outside of the racing you guys actually were. Has that been an adjustment for you?
Yeah, it was actually a lot bigger of an adjustment than I thought it would be. You're right. We weren't really close when I left for college. Before then, I think we're 6 years apart, and he was too young to the point where we had a really a tight relationship. But once I got back from college, it was a complete 180. Dylan was my best friend. We hung out all the time, whether it was at the shop, going out, just doing something, going to the racetrack, or on our non-racing days, we would go to the go-kart track and just beat the crap out of each other and laugh at all the go-kart people for getting upset. But yeah, it was a huge change for me, and I know it was for him too when he moved up there. Although I will say that as far as racing goes, we call him the virtual crew chief. Anytime I'm trying to set the car up and I'm just stumped, I call Dylan. And everybody who works on the crew with me and who's part of my team knows that the second I pick my phone up, I'm puzzled. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how to fix the car, and I know Dylan's going to. So I give him a call, and especially now, now that he's working full-time in racing, his knowledge has just gone through the roof. There's been races where I would have been 7 or 8 spots farther back if it wasn't for his adjustments, that I can call him and say, the car's doing this and this getting in, it's doing this in the center, and it's doing this getting off, and I've got X amount of fight off, and it's driving in Y, what should I do? And he'll just rattle off changes. He'll do X, Y, Z. If that doesn't work, do A, B, C. Call me after. And I'll go, okay, and run into him, and if it works, I'll call him and say it worked. If not, I'll call him and say, you're retarded, try something new. And we'll try something new.
I've seen that ARCA Mims fan page or whatever that is. They've had their fun with Dylan this year with all the little memes they have made of it, him hitting the wall or him doing this or him.
I will say, and I have to keep the secret closely guarded, but I may or may not can confirm or deny who actually runs that page. And oh my God, he picks on Dylan all the time, and it's so funny. And every time he does it, I send him a quick text like, dude, that was a good one. You got him that time. My favorite one was him curled up with the minion in the hauler when he was at Thad's race. And he went and took a quick nap, and one of the crew guys got a picture of him and can't hang with it. Whoever got the picture, I think it was Derek, who's on Empire Racing's crew. I think Derek did it. But whoever it was that got the picture of him curled up with the minion, I applaud you, good sir. That was impressive.
I've seen the Spy 3 or 4 of them. I think the one I got the chuckles when they were comparing his hair to Justin Bieber's hair.
Oh yeah, I've always called him the Justin Bieber of racing, and I think now that he's getting older and his face is maturing more, it's only getting worse Like he's only looking more like Bieber. So now not only do I get to pick on him, but it's kind of catching on. And I've even heard stories up in North Carolina of someone went into Simpson to get some belts from him, and Jessica Coulter was there, one of our good friends, and the guy was trying to describe the driver that he was buying stuff for from Empire, because there's a few, and she goes, "Does he look like Justin Bieber?" "Yeah, that one." "Okay, I know who you're talking about. That's Dylan."
Oh goodness. From when you first started until where we're at now, what was probably the hardest thing for you to adjust and learn how to do to better your career on the track? And what was one of those things that you thought was going to be difficult, and once you did it, you kind of look back like, why was I even sweating that?
I think the hardest thing for me that has been to learn, and it's only because there's so many options, is setting up the car. When I was with Dylan, we always had Chad Pierce and Chad Pierce Motorsports, which he's now doing that completely full-time on his own. And I've always had him where he would say, all right, we're going to do blah, blah, blah. And we'd run and he'd walk me through how to do it, or I'd sit there and watch him or something like that. But either way, I wasn't making the setup calls. Well, obviously, I'm not going to have a crew chief unless, of course, he's a virtual crew chief who I don't have to pay. But, other than that, for the most part, I'm making my own setup calls, and if I really get stumped, then I'll call Dylan. But I think, trying to figure out what to do to the car to make it do what I want has been a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be, for the simple fact of when you change one thing, it's going to affect everything. So, just trying to loosen the car up, you think it would be simple and it'd be some small adjustment, but you know that if you do that it's also going to do this in the center and this inside, or getting into the turn, and it's just trying to figure out what to do, when to do it, and how much has been a real struggle. And I'll tell you, if it wasn't for Rochelle Rudolph and Mike Rudolph, they run mod minis down here, and I normally park next to them. If it wasn't for being able to talk to them and ask them what they think was going to happen to the track, and being able to call Dylan, I'd be so much farther behind than I am now. It would be unreal. As far as something that was easier, and everybody's going to laugh at me for this while I was on my team because they know, I'm going to say building bumpers. I cannot believe how many times I've had to rebuild that dang bumper because there's between me trying to push people down the straightaway, or me getting hit into people, or me just being an idiot and hitting people in general, I like to bend my bumper back, and we've made it to where that bumper is the brake point. That way it doesn't push the radiator into the engine. We made that mistake once. I'll never do that again. But I tell you what, me and Scott Audrey, Tootsies with Blackwater Integration, we've got that figured out. We can knock a bumper out in 5 hours now. It used to take us 2 days.
I'm an expert at that. 2016, moving this point forward, what you've already learned your rookie season, what you've already learned this season, and everything you've accomplished to this point, what would you like to accomplish? I mean, outside of obviously winning a race, what would you like to accomplish this year that you feel that would really be impactful on 2017 and even moving forward on your career?
I mean, aside from obviously winning, I still get to get that first win under my belt. It's starting to frustrate. I'm not gonna lie. It's getting to the point where we're getting a little grumpy, but we're gonna get there. We know we are. The car keeps getting better. But I think the one thing that I really want to, I'd say, learn this year is we're working on tactful driving, is what we call it. Auburndale is a very unique style of track where when you're getting into a turn, if you're going to make a pass, unless you're already at the guy's door because you just outmotored him, you have to outbrake him, which means you're going to kamikaze into the turn as hard as you can, try to make it stick, hope to God it does, and if it does, mash the gas and hope it sticks again. And we're working on, A, setting up passes to where that's not necessarily required, and B, understanding when to do that if your car can actually do it. Especially because in the Bombers we don't have spotters, and there's been a few times where I'm just so used to if I get inside of the guy that he's going to know I'm there, that I've spun people and went, oh, yeah, he had no clue that I was inside of him. So we're working really hard on tactful driving, knowing when to make the move, how to make it, and how to set it up, rather than just knowing how to do it, but how to set it up the lap before, make them think you're going to do something different. But it's definitely something that we're pushing for, and making sure we keep the car clean and keep the equipment right. So at the end of the race, we haven't wasted our equipment. We had problems with that early in my career, as I would drive it so hard in the beginning that by the end of the race, the car had nothing. It was flipping and sliding all over the place. The engine was heated up, and it was just, I'd come off the track going, what happened? And they're like, you drove like it was the last 5 laps on lap 1. Yeah, stop doing that. So definitely
kind of like it kind of reminds me of Days of Thunder when he first started running. He would just use up all the equipment, and they had to do that special test session. And it was like 30 laps my way, 30 or 50 laps my way, 50 laps his way. It was one of those things where you just had to learn how to conserve it and kind of rationalize the car through a whole run versus trying to burn it all up in the first 10 laps. So,
exactly. Yes, we had that problem. I took the football mentality of when the green flag drops, put the pedal to the floor and go as hard as you possibly can, and I realized extremely quickly that doesn't work.
Oh, goodness. Well, got to start to thank you very much for coming on. I got you 15 minutes longer than I was expecting to and planned to, but glad I did. Really, some really good stories. It was probably the hardest I've laughed at any point on this show. I don't know. There might have been one other time, but I don't think it involved a guest. I think it involved one of the co-hosts we had at the time and one of our experts on the show, if I'm not mistaken. But guest-wise, this is probably the most entertaining and the most I've laughed in any interview. So that's really cool. I don't get too many times to kind of cut. Yeah, it's not. I mean, between you and your brother, God, it's been like 10, 15 times, and I've actually met, so it's kind of a little bit different with y'all versus some of the other guests. It's not like we've hung out at the local Dewdrop Inn. I don't know what's with the Dewdrop Inn tonight. It's the second time I've referenced that, and had beers together and shot pool. But at the same time, it's just a little bit different. Had I've actually met, and as many times you guys have been on the show and everything else. So it's just kind of a different atmosphere tonight. So it's really cool. But I definitely want to thank you for your time tonight. Had a blast. I want to wish you luck on the rest of the season and moving forward. And hopefully we'll get you back on at least one more time before this season's out and see how things are moving forward and what other entertaining and fun stories we can get out of you. But I will go ahead and let you enjoy the rest of your night. And thank you once again. And we'll definitely be keeping in touch with you.
And thank you very much for having me. As I always love coming on this show. One more thing before I go, I blew it up on Facebook that we had some major announcement that I wanted to make, and I wanted to make it on your radio station. I knew that it would be something that you guys would want to hear first, and make sure that you had insider information. For those of you that don't know that are listening in, and all my friends and family and fans that are listening in, we have made some major moves through the off season, and we're talking. We're doing some major talks right now with a couple of race teams and one car builder in particular. But I did get to go ahead and make the announcement that absolutely, by the end of 2016, we're looking at probably charity race time or maybe just before that to get the speed time. We missed truck racing. Truck racing was our life. We absolutely loved it. And now that Dylan's gone, we've decided we're going back. So as we speak right now, everything is moving and getting put in place, and we're building a truck. So we're going to be pro truck racing by the end of 2016 and keeping the Bomber running double duty when we do run it. Me and Dylan are going to split the ride. Whenever he's back, he's going to run the car. Whenever he's running up in North Carolina, I'm going to run it. But most importantly, that was the big announcement we wanted to make. We're going truck racing again.
That is really cool. Have you ever driven the truck yet?
Nope, I have not. We got some testing to do before we race, but we can say that it is official, and the truck is going to be built. Going to be started to being built here soon. All brand new from the ground up. I can't even begin to describe to you how excited we are to be able to move up in the career, move up in the racing world, and go a little bit faster.
That is definitely cool, and hopefully we get you back before that point, but I definitely want to get you back right after your first experience out there with the truck. I'd love to know the difference and what it was like for you and everything else. And it ain't going to be one of those things you're on for a long time, but I definitely got to hear and want to know what the experience is like. So definitely keep us informed what that's going on. But congratulations with that. That is a really cool thing to hear. And hopefully you keep following in the path of Dylan and both of y'all eventually be like the Bush brothers and be out there on Sunday afternoons and battling out. That would be, I know your parents would be tickled to death, and I don't even know if they would be able to know what to do with themselves if both of y'all at least were in the top 3 series and be able to basically be out there the weekend together, regardless of what series you guys are in. I can only imagine what it'd be like for your parents. So hopefully you guys continue.
Yeah, that'd be downright scary.
Just make sure that all the tires are on, all the lug nuts are on and everything.
Bolted on tight. Yeah, I'll make sure Dylan knows.
Good luck on the rest of the season. Keep us in touch or keep us informed. Congratulations on that, and you enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Wow, that's cool. It's really cool to see such good things happen to such great people, and the Martin brothers, they really cool. When we had Dylan on the first time, and I love telling this story. The first interview, I didn't even know what to do with myself. Dylan was all one-worded answers, and it was rough. I usually have no problem making it 30 minutes, and when I'm asking all these questions and I get yes, one, no, maybe, it's like, oh, I went through all these questions in 10, 15 minutes, and to watch him grow, and now 30 minutes goes by so quick. That's just like talking with Brandon. 50 minutes, that was, Brandon's the natural at it. Dylan, it took him some growing into it. But it's really cool to see them, how involved they are with the community. There's a Shriners Hospital, and us be able to help with their efforts on that. That's, I'm assuming that's the coloring books that he was talking about. Talking about how I got a Dylan Martin coloring book around here that they give out, and they give out the Shriners Hospital and stuff. But just to see 2 young adults brought up right, have their head on their shoulders. And just doing everything the right way, on the track, off the track, in their personal lives. And, like I said, I've had a lot of opportunity to interview a lot of people on the show. I've had an opportunity to interview different drivers at the track and stuff. But the Martin brothers, I want to say, they were they were the second. I was going to say they were the first, but they were actually even the second. Caleb Lyons was the only other one that we've actually had on the show that is regular as well. And I've had an opportunity to hang out with them. It wasn't one of those things where me and the Martin brothers, I keep wanting to say boys, brothers or Caleb, it wasn't like, it was, okay, we met at the track and said, hey, and, said a couple things. It was, we kind of, I got to get ready to plug you in here. It was one of those things that, we got to hang out at the track. We got to talk, and we got to, same thing with Kayla. When she went with us, she went with Shorty and I to the Chip Canafty event, and she hung out, and we got to hang out for a few hours. I don't get that with too many people. It just, it's all about timing. And, and sometimes the timings work out. I've got Facebook friends that, I'm supposed to meet up the tracks, and they've never worked out, and, but to have the actual guests come on the show, especially like the Martin brothers and Kayla, who have given their time so many times to the show and have been on so much. I want to say Kayla's probably been on a good 5 to 7 times herself. And then everybody be able to make time outside of the show and be able to kind of hang out and talk and, kind of get to know each other on a different level outside of, just being on the show and, get to have personal, it's not personal, but, personal conversations. Because the conversations we've had to this point, hundreds of thousands of people are listening to it. They're, everybody's hearing this. But for us to be able to be at these events and at the track or any sporting event and actually, be able to talk to them, it's not over the air. It wasn't like we're sharing personal information, but it's personal. I mean, it's not a public aired conversation, so it's just really cool, and just to see these two continue to grow and the opportunities they're doing up here in North Carolina now, which here real soon I got to get a hold of him and find out his schedule and make it. I'm only an hour and a half, 2 hours there, and I've done told Dylan I want to come out there and be able to hang out with him and maybe hang out and have lunch or something, just kind of give him an opportunity to get away and have a familiar face outside of just work. He's been here long enough that he knows enough enough people at this point, but just kind of opportunity to get away from all that for a minute and just kind of hang out. And so that's kind of the respect that the kind of the level I hold the Martin brothers and people like that, just cool people, and it's just really cool. So glad to see her. And I got Shorty in the studio. I told her I'd get back on at 10:50. Here we're at 10:55, and she's sending me back at 10:52. I'm in the queue. So let me get it back on. She wanted to talk about some RG3, and I'm curious. I had to pull it up, and I know kind of where she's going, but I want to get her take on this. And this is exactly why I was not excited, and one of the reasons why I was not excited about getting RG3 back, other than the fact that I'm not the read option quarterback kind of guy, nor am I the running quarterback kind of guy. But also, he is a diva. And him and his father and everybody else in the Griffin camp. And this is just another one of those prime examples. Shorty, what do you got for us?
Well, you're going to have to give me a second because it disappeared on me. I'm going. Sheesh. What in the world? Well, sure does know how to stir up people's nerves. Like, he had a 20-30 minute interview that apparently went super swell, and then right at the end, he
stuck his career very slow.
Yeah, he stuck his foot in his mouth. It wasn't even so much, so bad that he stuck his foot in his mouth. He said something he shouldn't have said. It was just the statement that he made, and I still cannot freaking find it.
No pressure, no diamond?
Yes, no pressure, no diamond. He also says that he has a massive chip on his shoulder. In one second.
I don't know why he's got a chip on his shoulder. His performance is why he's at where he's at. Because he is not the best, a great quarterback, because he is injury prone, and because for some reason he does not understand how to slide. And it's a proven thing, and he has tried how to master how to slide, like sliding into the base. He has the difficulties, and he's actually got to practice doing it. If not, he'll hurt his ankles and his feet because he does not know how to slide. Like he's having a real, honest, difficult problem learning how to slide, but that's what is killing his career because he doesn't know how to slide. He doesn't get down and out of the way and protect himself, and he takes these hits he shouldn't be that he doesn't need to be taken. But he kind of brings it on. He kind of brought it on himself. I don't know why you got a chip on your shoulder. Kirk Cousins was the better quarterback. There is no arguing that. I knew that when they drafted him. I mean, he played for Baylor. He didn't play. There's nothing against Baylor, and there's nothing against RG3. But it's a conference that is not full with. I'm sorry, but unless you come out of the ACC, the SEC, Big Ten, your legitimacy to me, you have to really prove something to me. You have to go against a top team in a national championship game and win. That's why I'm not throwing on Marcus Mariota. He played for Oregon. He played out west. And then when he had the opportunity to be on the big stage, Ohio State crushed him. Made him look like an amateur, not even should be playing high school football. I'm sorry. And RG3 was kind of the same thing. You can get to the level, the national title. You didn't. Wow, man. And Geno Smith is. I've been preaching that forever. You play for West Virginia. I don't care that he threw for 4,000 yards. I don't care that he rushed for 1,000-plus yards. I don't care if he threw for 40 touchdowns. He played for West Virginia. He played nobody. He played schools you've never heard of in colleges you didn't realize they still had football teams. And yet he was sold on himself, and unfortunately for the Jets, they were sold. They went ahead and hell, they still got him. Once he got in the big boys league, that all went away, and Geno Smith ain't been garbage in the NFL. And that's a prime example. So I don't know why he necessarily has a chip on his shoulder, because really all this is caught on to himself.
Well, no, that was the whole reason. He says he's not trying to let any baggage hold him down from the past, but I do have a massive chip on my shoulder. I know there's things that I could have done differently. He said, I can't focus on that. I have to focus on what I'm doing here with the Cleveland Browns. The coach, Jackson, says, he showed me that he's grown, that he's learned, he understands that sometimes we play all roles when things don't go well. He wanted to move beyond that and grow and become better. I'm not afraid to sit in the pocket and throw the ball. I'm not afraid to run the red zone. I'm not afraid to run the zone red. I believe iron sharpens iron, and we can help one another. This is from McClown. For me, it's we come together, we help each other. Let's make this position as good as we can for our team. RG3 is. He says he knows the history, a little bit of the history of Cleveland, and the guys sometimes don't want to come here. I wanted to come here. I wanted them to know that. They call this the land. They call this land, so we're going to make this ours and really give these fans what they deserve. God, I hope so. Maybe he is going to grow. Maybe he is going to, maybe he will become better. Who knows? I mean, until the season starts and we get a couple games in, we don't really truly know. So, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for about 4 games. If in 4 games he doesn't prove to me that he's worthy of, even being in the big leagues, then, I'll start talking the crap. But, yes, he has shown in the past that he, sucks and that he can't play well with others and whatnot, but I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt as of now.
I'm not a big fan of RG3, but along with Cleveland draft right, like get a quarterback that is out of a read option program, such as Ezekiel Elliott out of Ohio State, we might actually have a winning season. I don't think that with RG3 we'll ever go to the Super Bowl or deep into the playoffs, but at least we might have a winning record, which we've only had like 3 since 2000. It's something retarded. Something that we ain't seen too many. Maybe since 95. I can't remember. 2 things that I thought real quick, and we're going to get out of here since we're already after 11 o'clock. One, Sports Nation posted a little while ago or earlier. I just now saw it, so I thought it was interesting because we talked about it earlier in the show, and that was the fact in the meme goes on the top. They got Golden State and talking about the fact that they're 69-9 and
69 out of 5.
There we go. 69-9 with 4 games left, and in the bottom half they got Tim Duncan sitting on the sideline, getting ready to come in with a big smirk on his face, and it says in front of him, "Still haven't clinched number 1 seed." So I thought that was funny that they're poking at the same thing I was poking at, the fact that Golden State in this historic run at 69-9 technically have not doing it. Technically could be the 2nd seed if Golden State was to lose out and San Antonio win the rest of their games. So I thought that was entertaining. Then I also thought it was entertaining someone poking at the difference between racing, and I'm just using this one because we had Brandon Martin on the show, the difference between racing and other sports where they're poking at the fact that crashes at 200 or 300 kilometers an hour out in 3 seconds and stands on his own feet. They talk about the soccer player that's touched by an opponent, goes on the ground like he was hit by a truck. I thought that was entertaining. I'm going to share both of those on our page so you guys have those to be humored by and shared on as well. Brandon, I got to thank you once again for coming on tonight. Glad to have him on. Shorty as well. Glad you were able to call in tonight, hang out in the studio for a while, and be able to talk sports. And I'm sure I'm going to be talking to you after the show.
Oh, most definitely. Hopefully face to face, but if not, that's okay.
Got to thank everybody that tuned in tonight. Very, very thankful for everybody. New listeners, new guests. It almost feels like church. Like, our new guests out there, will you please raise your hand? There you go. I see you. No, in all seriousness, though, I got to thank everybody. It's really cool to continue to see this every day. Got a shout out to Racing with Big Sweat. Got a big show tomorrow night. Make sure you guys check that out, 9 p.m. Shout out to Happy Hour Garage. We got 12 o'clock Saturday. They got a great show lined up. A really great guest that they had. Also, shout out to the Dirt Talk Hour crew as well. They got a great show lined up. They're getting all the details together so we can get that scheduled and get that out to you guys. Miss Lee, all the guests we had this week, she lined all that up, so I got to thank her as well. She's working on the backside of the 110 Nation and getting things lined up and guests lined up for our big April 15th big show, the 5-year anniversary show. Really hoping to get quite a few guests on. Like I said, I would love to see about 6 to 10 guests, and maybe 10 minutes per, 15 minutes per guest, just to be able to just constantly just go around the just bam. It'd be really cool. Great. I'm hoping that we get this all worked out like I'm visualizing it. April 15th, 5-year mark. You guys not like us on Facebook? Go check us out on Facebook. We would love to hit 1,000 likes before April 15th. We've got some goodies. Shorty picked up something today to go in the goodie bag. We're going to have a contest, and but just like every contest, there's rules and there's things that got to be accomplished. Nobody just says, you know what, I bought a car today, here, have it. I mean, well, there is, but how often do you hear that from? Every radio, if it's 8 caller, 100 caller, whatever the case be. Well, ours was just so like us. I mean, it didn't even cost you nothing. You didn't have to dial nobody. All you do is click your button, same button that you click to get on the show or even get on Facebook. It was quite simple. And it was even simpler is the fact that if everybody that was already liked us, which is coming up on like 860 at this point, if y'all just shared it with one person and say, hey, go like this page. They got some goodies. They got a lot of things going on. And we would have done tripled, our number. Well, at least doubled our number. And we would more than done 1.5 times our goal. I mean, it's really simple. So make sure you guys go over to check that. Also, once again, everybody returned tonight. Says we've hit 18 out of 18 straight days in our 110 consecutive days of growth. So really hope that we continue that path. So these guys working hard and enjoy a little extra money in their pockets and get rewarded with that. And we got some other cool things going on. We got a lot of cool things. If you want to be part of this, I mean, we're having a blast. It continue to grow. It is ridiculous. And I also got a shout out to Snafu Seasoning, great seasoning rub. You guys can check them out at snafuseasoning.com. Racing with Big Sweat Thursday nights. He gives out bottles to those that call in. So got to be thankful for that. Also got a shout out to Fit for Life, our new marketing partnership with them. 10 locations just in our area alone. Make sure you guys check them out. Look them up on Facebook or on Facebook as well. I know I follow them on Facebook. And check them out. Fit for Life. I'll get you guys the exact details if you Google Fit for Life. Davis location in your area. Great price. 24/7, 365. There is not a single day or a single part of the day that I cannot go to the gym. Went this morning. I will be back in there tomorrow morning before I go to work. I'll be working noon. Probably be hitting the gym between 9:30 10 o'clock. Matter of fact, I got my fastest 4-mile in today. I went from 42 down to 29.55 minutes. So I'm getting down. I got another 30. That was the next goal. Now I want to get it a little bit farther under 30 so I can up it to 5 miles, and I want to get that under 30 minutes. I put on a little weight over the last year and a half of not having an opportunity to be in the gym and just life in general. And now that I got some time to get back in the gym, now it's time to get back to where it was about 2 years ago. That's what the ultimate goal is. Back down to about 250. I don't know if I'll ever get my bench back up to 460, but I've been hitting around 400. That would be great. Just get back down to under a 40-inch waist and just really be energized. It was go that point in my life. I'd get in after doing a show and actually hanging out with Shorty. We'd get in 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, turn around, be up first thing in the morning, be back at it again the next day, and it was work, it was gym, it was show, and everything else, and and the kids and everything else. Not only just for looks, but more of getting back to having the energy and being back, the fact that I'm on my feet 10 to 12 hours a day, just standing there for my job. There's no sitting down at any point. I just stand there. It's great on my knees and my legs to start getting back into the direction I was. So make sure you guys check them out as well. You're interested, back to my point, interested in joining all this, if you want to host a show, maybe be I'd love to have an expert. What you got to experience the last 2 nights with Shorty coming on, I would love to have the opportunity to have something like that, male or female, Monday through Friday, and hang out and be able to have someone to bounce off like Shorty and I do. Or maybe you want to host your own show, or maybe you got a show that you want to syndicate or rebroadcast on our network. Maybe talking and being on the air is not you. First time I scheduled the show, 15 minutes, I didn't think it was going to be me either. Maybe you're a journalist. Maybe you love, getting your opinion on stuff out there, but you like to write it down and just send it in. Maybe you want to do behind-the-scenes stuff. Miss Lee, our PR, she does a phenomenal job. But we've gotten to the point, we got so much going on that she's wanting me to find somebody to clone, and be a second her. We definitely use that. Marketing, social media. If you love being on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and want to help make a big impact on our social media, any of those things sound like you, hit me up, MrCJSports@gmail.com. Also, if you're interested in coming on the show, athlete, some kind of athletic organization, team, maybe you got a show or site, you want to come on and promote it and talk sports, or maybe you got some kind of charity or foundation like we had Tommy Danger early in the week with More Than Just Me. You can check them out at mtjm.org. They got the big 5K More Than Just Miles run coming up April, I want to say 16th. It's not this Saturday, but the following Saturday down at Daytona, Florida. You got stuff like that going on. We love to have the opportunity. And just like with them, we've been involved 2 out of the 3 years. Just like we got involved with Seek to Destroy Cancer. Just like there's a couple of things later on in the year that we will be getting involved with. Some of the local, we have an autism awareness event we get involved with. I know we weren't involved last year, but the year before we helped raise $7,000. I think the year before that was like $5,000. If you got something like that going on, hit us up. Miss Lee, you can hit her up at Lee, that's L-E _110nation@yahoo.com. We would love to have an opportunity to get you guys on the show, participate, get involved, spread the word, whatever we can do. Or, if you're just an athlete, just be able to have an opportunity to get to know you and help get you out there. Just like to hit her up. I think everything I can wrap up tonight as we went 15 minutes over. Hopefully everything downloads tonight. I was trying to get the show downloaded over there for them to syndicate. Unfortunately, I didn't get it over there. They play us from 10 a.m. to noon on the I-95 Sports Network. Unfortunately, we didn't get it over there in time. As a matter of fact, when I got the show last night at 11 o'clock, I spent from 11 o'clock to almost 4 o'clock in the morning trying to download it. It just would not process. It would not play. It would not do nothing, which is probably going to hurt our numbers for yesterday's show because it would not do anything until 11 o'clock today. For 12 hours straight, you could not play it. You could not download it. It would not process. I was up until almost 4 o'clock, got back at 8 o'clock, started messing with it before I left at 9 o'clock to go do the car inspection, to go to the gym. Finally at 11:30 when I got back and was getting back, get showered, get the show. Tomorrow's show scheduled for racing with Big Sweat. I keep mixing those up. It finally let me download. I finally got it sent over there. So I hopefully they got an opportunity to play it today since we didn't get in our time slot. But, I let them know what was going on. But hopefully I got that same issue tonight. I'd hate to be up till 4 o'clock in the morning again tonight or tomorrow morning trying to download the show, but we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. Looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward to hanging out with the Racing with Big Sweat crew. Got a great show planned for you guys tomorrow night, so make sure you guys tune into that. You got the 110 Nation Sports Show as well. You guys enjoy your night tomorrow night, where we'll be back at it here again. Make sure you guys tune in.
Thanks for listening to the 110 Nation Sports Show with Mr. CJ Sports. You are a part of the 110 Nation, so be sure to visit the110nation.com for everything related to the show. You can follow CJ on Twitter at 110nation and on Facebook at 110 Nation Sports. Until next time.
He learned to pitch in your backyard. Now his team's coming over to celebrate their high school champion pairs bare spots in only 2 weeks or less. Pennington's been trusted since 1945, and now it works ship. So you need to patch those bare spots fast. Pennington One Step Complete has a revolutionary formula that's even faster. One Step Complete from Pennington. Honest green. Get your lawn ready for any occasion. Head to your local retailer to pick up One Step Complete.